Yeah, so I think you can reload your course dashboard page and it should be available there. Okay. So I've added to your projects and assessments. So that's in your cohort Nilgiri lecture recordings and materials only. Okay. So go to projects and assessment for the first week, and there you will find the guided project link. Okay. So just click on that link, make a copy in Drive. Okay. And then let me know when you are ready. So has anyone been able to make a copy till now? Uh, yeah, so you can let me know over the chat if you are ready with the notebook. Okay. All right. So Sri Ram has done this. Okay. Waiting for all the other, the rest of the guys. Yeah. So you should be able to find this notebook in cohort Nilgiri lecture recordings and materials. So the for the first week, so in projects and assessments, you'll find the guided project notebook. Okay, so just click on that when it opens. So just click on file and then save a copy in Drive, something like this. Save a copy in Drive. It will get saved in the collab notebooks folder in your home, and from there you need to move that. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to write the notebook's name should be M1W1, your name, and then hyphen guided project. Okay, so this Santa is ready. Okay, Rohan is also ready, I guess. Saeed has also done that. Okay, just waiting for you guys to, yeah, in not in projects and assessment, Priyanshi. So in the first, yeah, so which is in fact the D6, right? So in the projects and assessment, no, this is not the self project, right? This is the guided project, right? Self project is what you will be doing on your own, Shubham. So self project has to be completed by Monday 12 p.m. You need to submit that by Monday 12 p.m. Okay. So I'll be sharing the deadlines with you, but the self project is what you need to do on your own. Okay. The guided project is something an instructor will help, will guide you for that project. Okay. I hope you understand the difference. Yeah, so the guided project needs to be stored in day 6 folder. Yes. So every activity which you are doing on weekends, right? So on Saturday or Sunday, be it self project, guided project, anything. So you, yeah, put them in your day 6 folder. Uh, Shubham, what I need to do, what you need to do, just go to your cohort Nilgiri lecture recordings and materials course. Okay. There in the first week, you'll find in projects and assessments a guided project. Okay. So just click on that lesson. And there will be a link to the lab notebook. So just click on that. And then, yeah, it should be available to you. So you need to make a copy. Uh, So Rajat is asking, can we take help of anyone to complete self project? We are not able to do something in that. No, you should not take help of anyone. You try. You have a lot of time with you, right? So you have all the entire weekend with you. So just take you some time. Okay, try to figure out. Don't take help of anyone else. Yeah, just try first on your own, and things will become clear, right? So the project is not that tough. You just need to spend some time with it. Shubham, let me know if you have gotten the notebook. Yeah, Sheets is asking what about mentor session. So this week will because this is the first week and you guys are just getting started, right? So we are not going to have mentor session from this week. So from the next week we'll have the mentor session. So today Shivam will be teaching you how to solve guesstimates, right? So that will be in your next mentor session. Okay, so all the details will be shared. So for this week, we will not have any mentor session. Okay, so because this is your first week, I want you guys to just get settled, get acquainted with our processes, and yeah, that should be it. Okay, so yeah, just let me know once you guys are ready with your notebook. Okay, I'll just give you guys 1 or 2 minutes, and then we can get on with the project. Okay, so I think everyone has been able to do that. Okay, in case if you haven't, yeah, I'll just give you some time. No worries. Okay, so Rishabh is ready. Himanshu has. Shubham Kumar is saying you need to reload the course dashboard page. Shubham, just reload the page. Okay, so guided project has just been added, so it should be available to you. Okay. Okay. In fact, Sheets has also shared the collab notebook link, so which we can also use. But you should be able to find it in the dashboard. Okay. So and regarding the submission of the guided project notebook, so wait until I let you know, guys. So maybe what you can do, you can submit it between 1 to 2 p.m. Okay. So the thing is, in the assignment submission dashboard, we are getting the guided project option added. So you can, yeah, use that. But I don't think it will be available now. It should be available around 1 p.m. Okay. So so I'll let you know, guys, over the Slack channel, and then you can submit your guided project notebook. Okay. Uh, I hope that is fine, right? So don't try to submit the notebook before I let you know. Okay. So uh, so whatever work which you will be doing now, so that is the notebook which you need to, yeah, submit, and I'll let you know when to submit that using in the assignment submission portal. Okay. So Shubham Kumar is ready. That's great. Prashant is ready. So I hope everyone is ready with their notebook. Is there anyone who hasn't yet created this? Yeah. So everyone should have been able to, yeah. So there's no one, I guess. Okay. So let's begin with the project. Okay. So this is not a hypothetical situation, but is somewhat close to what we see around us, right? So this is a project on Dream Premier League. So it's similar to Indian Premier League, which you know, right? So that's been quite famous for a decade now, right? So a match of DPL is going on, right? So what's the situation now? So Team Aravali has made a score of 195 for 7. So yeah, let me just has made a score of 195 for 7 in 20 overs, and the opponent team Shivalik is doing some analytics, right? So Team Aravali has already batted, right? So in 20 overs they have made around 195 runs, and with the loss of 7 wickets, right? And the opponent team Shivalik is doing some analytics to find out what they need to do to win, right? So here's the situation. So you are to assume yourself as the data scientist of the team Shivalik, and you have been asked for your help. Okay, so this is a situation. Team Shivalik is yet to bat. Okay, Team Haralia has already batted. They have scored now 195 runs on the loss of 7 wickets, right, in 20 overs, and Team Shivalik is yet to bat. Okay, so let's try to see what sort of problems we have for this project. Okay, so the first question is, so you're already given that Team Sivali has stored the runs made by Team Aravali players in the following dictionary, right? So Team Aravali has already batted, okay, and these are the scores of the Team Aravali players, right? So Dhoni scored 25 runs, Virat scored 31 runs, right? So it's in a dictionary. where each key correspond to the player and the value for each key is the corresponding runs these players have made. Right, so Dhoni has made 25, Virat has 31, Pollard has made 11. Okay, and Rohit has made 0 runs. Maxwell has made 12. Sachin has made 59, and Sehwag has made 12 runs. Okay, so uh, so our first question is. So I hope you understand the question, right? So can you guys please let me know if you are able to understand the question, right? So at least till now. Okay, so you're given a dictionary of the runs made by Team Shivalik. Okay, so now our question is. So Okay, so we need to get the list of all players in Team Aravali, right? This is the first question. So I need you guys. So it's the same link. Okay, it's the same link from yesterday. Uh, just yeah, post your answer. What do you think? How should we get the list of all players in Team Aravali? Okay, so this is a dictionary which we have been given for Aravali, right? So Aravali is the dict. So can you guys please, yeah, scribble your answers on this Padlet? Right, so I've yeah shared it over the chat, right, just right now. Okay, sorry, I just wait a bit. Yeah, I've sent right, it's the same link as yesterday only. um so Shri Ram is saying list aravali.keys. Okay, Himanshu is saying list aravali.keys. Okay, uh so yeah, this is what everyone thinks. So Rohan is also saying Ravli.keys. Sanchita is also saying that. Sumanta is also with the same, and Dristanta, and getting some answers. So Priyanshi is also coming up with the same answer. That's great. So Prashant Bhardwaj, okay. Okay, so okay, so so basically I can create a variable. So I can call them Aravali players. Okay, and what you guys are saying. So list. Okay, so Aravali dot keys. Okay, so because all the players are the keys in this dictionary, so we can do this, and then in this way we can print a Ravli players. Okay, so yeah, just let me connect this to the server. Okay, so yeah, so this is what I've been getting the answer from you guys. So list Ravli dot keys. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and yeah, just run this cell. So basically, now this is our dictionary. Okay, so you can view your dictionary in this manner too, right? So so these are your so players are your keys, and the runs made by them are the corresponding values. All right. So let's go ahead and run this and see what we get. Right. So now we have the list of players in Team Aravali. Right. So that's great. So I think yeah, everyone is okay with this answer. Okay. So the now the next question is by mistake the runs made by Rohit was recorded as 0, right? So here as you can see the runs made by Rohit has been recorded at 0, but right, so this happened due to a mistake in logging the information. So your next task is to figure out how many runs were made by Rohit and update the dictionary, right? So I'll just clear the Padlet, and then you need to tell me what should be the approach. Okay, so first tell me the approach, don't write the answer. You just write the approach first, and then we'll discuss how to get the solution. Right, so your task is to figure out how many runs were made by Rohit and update the dictionary. Right, so you know that the team made 195 runs, and these were the runs made by the Aravali players. But unfortunately, due to some mistake, the runs made by Rohit was recorded as 0. Right, and now you need to figure out how many runs were made by Rohit and update the dictionary. Okay. Okay, so so firstly, if the first question is we need to figure out how many runs were made by Rohit. Okay, so we'll of course be updating the dictionary, but firstly we need to figure out how many runs were made by Rohit, and most of you saying that 195 minus sum of runs made by other players. So now, yeah, that's fine. So your approach is perfect. So I'll just clear this Padlet again. And what you need to do now, you need to tell me how would you write this. Okay. So I'll just delete this post for now. Okay. So now, yeah. So Dristanta is saying Rohit runs is equal to, okay, 195 minus sum, a list, a Ravli dot values. Okay. Okay. So is, okay. So maybe, yeah, I can, all right. One sec. Okay. Yeah. So let's see. So uh, runs by Rohit. So this is the variable. Let's say I'm creating. So I'm getting some answer. So 195. So let's store firstly total runs. So it's a good idea to store total runs by Aravali. I will say the total runs by Aravali will be 195. Okay. And what we want to do, we want to subtract from this. Okay, what do we want to do? So we want to firstly, yeah, sum over all the values, right? So Aravali dot values, right? So dot values will be essentially, so when I do list of Aravali dot values, right? So I can just print this for you guys. And oh, sorry, yeah, this will not work. Right, so these are the total runs, and now if we need to sum all the elements or the numbers in a list, we can use the sum function, which we've already learned in list. Okay, so this is the correct yeah, appropriate parenthesis, right? So as you can see here, so now I can simply print. Okay, so I can use f string. So the total runs made by Rohit was, now I can pass my variable in this curly braces. So what I need to print, so runs by Rohit. Okay, so let's go ahead and, yeah, print this. Yeah, so the total runs made by Rohit was 45. Is this the same answer you guys are getting? Yeah. So okay, so yeah, all right. So one okay, so that's fine. So right, so everyone is getting 45, right? So can you send tell me over chat if you're getting 45, right? So there's no mystery around this. So it's pretty straightforward. We need to subtract from the total runs made by Aravali uh, the sum of the values in our dictionary, right? So dictionary has, so how many elements are there in our dictionary? As you can see, so if you just look at the number of elements in your keys, right? So there are elements in your dictionary. So you need to sum all these values and subtract that from the total runs made by Aravali. So this will give you, uh, right? So the updated runs. Now, next we need to do an important task, right? So now we know the runs made by Rohit. So I can, yeah. So I've already printed this, but anyway, I'll just print this now. Okay. So next, what we need to do, we need to update the dictionary with correct value of runs. Okay. So what do you think should we do? Okay. So okay. So Sheets is coming with a very straightforward solution. Uh, anyone? So Puneet is saying that, yeah, he should use the update statement. Okay. Okay. Sanchita is still writing. Okay. So they are, yeah. So you essentially okay. Okay. So I think yeah. So let's try to do this. What Sheers and Sanchita, even Shriram is also suggesting. Uh, yeah, I want all every one of you to participate. Okay, so Rajat is still writing. So Ravli Rohit is equal to. Okay, so let's update this. So what we can do, Ravli. Okay, and then the key is Rohit, right? And what is it we want to update with? So runs by Rohit. Okay, so now I can then print my Aravali and see if this gets updated, right? So now we have been able to update our dictionary with the correct value of runs scored by Rohit. And as you can see here, yeah, so the runs made by Rohit is reflecting as 45, which is a correct way, right? So yeah, are you guys with me at this point? Uh, so Kirthana has a question. So if the runs by Rohit are not zero but are wrong, then what should be done? Okay, so essentially, even in that case, we'll be doing the same thing, right? Because uh, so what we need to do in that case, runs made by Rohit. So basically, we need to sum up all the other values apart from Rohit, okay, and subtract that from there, right? So in our list, we'll not consider the runs made by Rohit, and then we'll subtract it from our original runs. Yeah, total runs made by Team Aravali. Is that fine, Kirtana? Right? So let's say if Rohit scored 20 runs, but you got to know that that was logged by mistake. So what we can do, we can sum up all the values of the other players and subtract that from the total runs made by Team Aravali. Okay. So everyone is with me at this moment. Okay, great. Okay. So let's move forward. Okay. So now our next task is to find out who scored the second highest runs in Team Aravali. Okay. So uh, before you start writing your answer, I need to first know your approach. So let me just clear this Padlet and then you can tell me what is the approach. Okay. So what should we do? So we need to find out who is that player who scored the second highest runs in Team Aravali. Okay. So don't write the solution now. I just want to know the approach from you guys. Okay. Okay. Sort the list and find the second element and stuff like that. Okay. Okay, so everyone is saying so. Okay, so sort the list and use slicing approach to find the second highest. Okay, all right. So, but what I need to do, I need to firstly what we need to do. So we have two lists. Okay, so one is the players and another is run. Okay, so let me just create those lists. So this is your list. Okay, Aravali dot keys, right? So the your players are the your keys, and then uh, player runs. Okay, so this is my another list, but here we have the we'll call the values method. Okay, on top of this dictionary. So these are the things, and I can right. So print players, and then player runs. Okay, so firstly, yeah, so this is what we are given with, right? So these are the players, and so essentially, what we need to do, our task is to find out who scored the second highest runs in Team Aravali. So just by a, simple visual inspection, so as you can see, the second highest runs were made by Rohit only. Okay, so because the highest was made by Sachin, and the second highest was made by Rohit. Okay, so we need to print Rohit, right? Because we need to find out who scored the second highest runs. Okay, so what do you think should we do? So I'll just create the Padlet, and then you guys can post your answers, codes here. Okay, so let me know how you guys thinking about this. Okay. Okay, so there could be different approaches, and yeah. So Ram is saying, okay, so he will call the sorted functions. Okay. Okay, so let's try what Sri Ram is saying. Okay, so let's try to see this if this works. Okay, so Sri Ram is saying scorers will be sorted around dot values reverse is equal to true. So print scorers, and then print. Okay, uh, Aravali dot keys. Okay, so in the list, what we need to do? So list Aravali dot values. Okay, so index scorers one. Okay, so let's try to run this, and if this makes sense, so yeah, it gives you the second index. Okay, so this is a way. So essentially, what Siram is suggesting that we have this list, right? So the list of Aravali dot keys, right? And so this is our list, right? So in our case, what is this? So this is our players, okay, and list Aravali dot values. Okay, so I can replace this with player runs. Okay, so player runs is essentially uh, this particular list. Okay, now we can use the index method, and in the index method, what we need to provide? So we need to provide scorers one, right? So essentially, the sorted I can print, yeah. So here the scorers has been printed, right? So 45, so index of 45. We want to get from player runs, right? So from player runs, right? And then once we have this particular index, right? So we can call this on players and get the corresponding uh, player. Okay. So, so Manta is saying if the list will be very big, then how will add except Rohit? Okay, so essentially what we need to do, we need to find the corresponding indexes, right? So for so in your keys, you know the index for Rohit, and in your runs also, right? So you that is your value. So you also know that proper corresponding index. So you need to just discard that index while you are summing up all the elements. Okay. Okay, and any other approach apart from what Sri Ram suggested? Okay. Uh, sorry, I don't know what's happened. Okay. Right, so duplicate the value list. Okay, we can find index of second value original list by values, right? Okay. Okay, so I hope you guys are comfortable with the solution. Okay. We can try out something else. Okay. So So I already have the solution from earlier. So I let's try to see that particular solution. Okay, so let's see another approach. Essentially the same thing. So I'll just write another approach here. Okay, so what we need to do, firstly, yeah. So let's create a copy because this is a list and okay, wait a second. So how do we create a copy? So essentially, uh, so let's store this in. So dot copy, right? So there is a copy method associated with our dictionary. Okay, so you can use this. So you might not have learned about this earlier. So now let's see a Ravli copy, right? Uh, I am doing this because the idea is it's a very good practice to make a copy first because when you're dealing with data structures which are mutable, okay, so if I just write simply like a Ravli copy is equal to Aravali instead of dot copy, right? So whatever changes we make to Aravali copy might get reflected in your original dictionary Aravali, right? So that's why you are using this dot copy method. Is essentially it makes a copy of that. Okay, so this is our dictionary and right, so here what we are trying to do, so we have the max run. So how can we get the max runs? So basically we can call the max function and we can pass the list of values, right? So these are the list of values, right? So this will give us the max run. And how we'll get this? So we can get the max run index in this way, right? So this is the uh, list of Aravali copy dot values, right? So in fact what we can do, okay, so this is your list of values and then for this max run you can find the corresponding index. Okay, so the index is 5, which is the run scored by Sachin. Okay, now what we need to do, right? So what next do you think? So we have the players, right? So we have the Aravali players, so we can get the highest run scorer, right? So that's not a new thing. So essentially we're doing the same thing which Sriram has suggested, right? So highest run scorer, right? And then we can print highest run scorer, right? So this is Sachin now, right? So now we have the highest run scorer. Now we need to get the second highest run scorer, right? So okay, so what we can do now, so because we have made a copy, so we can pop this, right? So we can pop this, right? So Aravali in Aravali copy, right? So we can pop the highest run scorer. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, and see what changes are there in Aravali copy. Okay, so now Sachin has been removed. So next, what we can do? Okay, so now we'll do the same thing essentially. Okay, and we can find the max run, right? Using that approach only, what we did above. Okay, so max runs, okay, the same thing, but it's just that now we don't have Sachin in this list, right? So if I try to run this, okay, and 3, and now I'll just let's say if I, okay, so I can copy this here, right? And so I can paste this now. So let's see. So I don't have Aravali players here, of course, yeah, I have that. So now I'm getting Rohit. Okay, so is this thing clear to you guys? So this is essentially, yeah, it's a little lengthy, of course, yeah, but it's just another way of doing this. So what we need to do, we need to, so in this approach what we did, right? So we find out who scored the highest run, we dropped that element from the dictionary, okay, and then we found out the highest run scorer, right? So it was sort of pretty straightforward. Okay, right, so yes. Yeah, you guys are definitely correct. So yeah, so there are different ways. So what suits your convention? So you'll also be given credit in your guided project. So if you're adding comments, so it's a very good practice to add comments. So whatever you're writing, so write proper comments like this, right? So I've not included it here, but I would request all of you to include the proper comments in your codes. Okay. So let me know once you guys are over with this question, and then we can move forward. Okay. So let me know once you are, yeah, over with this question. Okay, so is there anyone who has not been able to do this question? Yeah, so we can take some time. All right. Okay. Okay, that's great. So, so we can find the second highest run scorer, right? So, okay. So now I'll just, yeah, clear the Padlet, and then I'll ask you guys to, yeah, start posting. Okay. So now, out of curiosity, you want to find out the unique runs made by Team Aravali players, right? So how do you do this? How do you find the unique runs made by Team Aravali players? Okay, so everyone is saying we should create a set. All right. Uh, okay, so create a set of Aravali runs. Great. Right. So so let's take what Kirtana has written, and I'll just, yeah, copy this. So run set is essentially, okay, set player runs. So in my case, yeah, so player runs is the same. Yeah, that's the same thing. You guys need to be very careful when you are dealing with lists, okay? Because if you can get mutated when you apply any method as such. Okay, so that's why I had created. If I wanted to use the pop method above, right? So when I'm using the pop method, I created a copy, right? So I didn't work with my original dictionary list. Okay, so this is really important, else you'll have done changes in original list, and that is that, yeah, that will get you in trouble at times. Okay, so that's a safe thing. So in this case, we need to find out the unique runs, and as you're probably aware that we need a set is nothing but an unordered collection of unique elements, right? So we can call the set function, and in the parenthesis we can provide the list of the player runs. Okay, so let's go ahead and execute this what Kirtana has suggested, and we can print the run set. And yeah, so these are the unique runs made by yeah, Team Aravali players. Let me see if there were any repeated elements, right? So in player runs we had 12 repeated, right? But here we can see that 12 is only occurring once. Okay, so this is a, yeah, relatively easy question. Okay, so okay, so great. uh, so I'll just clear this. So let me know if you have guys done this question, right? Right, so problem 4. So this is a very easy question, right? So nothing complicated about this at all, right? So now let's move to the next question, right? So what you are given, that Team Shivalik has 6 fixed players and 5 slots for players who are playing good currently. Okay, so there are 6 fixed players in Team Shivalik, and there are 5 slots for players who are playing good currently. So you need to create 2 collections using appropriate data structure to write this 6 fixed and 5 mutable players, or 5 players who can be changed. So you can choose any player you want. Available players in the squad are these guys, right? Okay, so so these are the players, and Team Shivalik has 6 fixed players. Okay, so what do you think should be? So I what answer do I need from you guys? So what should be the appropriate data structure to store this collection for both fixed and mutable, right? So for fixed, what should I do? What should I use? So everyone is saying, yeah. So if we can write for fixed and then for mutable. So for fixed, someone is saying tuple. Okay, great. and for mutable, we should use list. Okay. Okay, that's great. Okay, so yeah, so so the fixed players are these guys, which I have assumed randomly, right? So it depends upon you. So which guys you want to fix and which guys you want to keep rotating. So the important idea is we'll store the fixed players in a tuple, okay, and the players who can be rotated or changed, okay. So they will be storing them in a list, okay. So this is the important takeaway from this particular question, right? So this is the appropriate data structure for these two particular conditions, right? So now we need to print them on same line using comma to separate them, okay. So so can you tell me how you want to do this? So let me just clear this, uh, and then you can start posting your answer. Okay, so please tell. So we need to print them on same line using comma to separate them. So if you have done this before, do let me know, or else we can discuss the solution. Okay, so it's not that difficult. Okay. Okay, so there are different ways to do this. Uh, so I want different solutions from different people, right? So of course, so Himanshu is saying using the F string. Is there anything else we can use? So right, so print fixed comma mutable. Bhanu is saying okay. So let's go with what Bhanu has suggested. So print fixed comma mutable, right? So let's go ahead and yeah print. Okay, I have not run this yet. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, so but here we are not getting any comma. Okay, so do you think any improvement you can do? So yeah, so Bhanu, can you try improving upon what you suggested? So so here I have comma, so but it's not printing any comma here. So maybe I can introduce any comma here. Do you think it will work? So let's go try and say this, right? Right. So we can get comma now, right? So we can print all of them together, right? So fixed first, then comma, which is the string, and then the mutable, right? So that makes sense. So okay, okay, all right. Is there any other way which through which we can print, right? So let's use the F string, which has been suggested. So F. So and then what we can do, we can write fixed, okay, and then what else? Fixed, comma, mutable. Okay, let's see if this works, right? So now this works, right? So it's the same thing, right? So this works. All right, so this works, right? So we can, yeah, print them on same line using comma to separate them. There's also one important, uh, another way, in fact, I would not call it very important, but it might come to your use later on. So we have this sep operator. Okay, so what we can do, we can write I'll set that to comma, and then I'll try to print this. Okay, right? So now we are getting comma, right? So all these the tuple and the list, so they are getting printed with comma separated, right? So Vineet is asking, can we use set for mutable? Even though, yeah, sets are mutable, but ideally what we want to have a lot of functionalities, right? So when we have a list, so we can do a lot of operations on this, and that would be a relatively better data structure than set to use for mutable list of players. Okay. Okay, so I think, yeah, this is also straightforward. Now let's move ahead. Okay. So now you need to try changing fixed player and mutable player. Okay, so just do this and I'll get back to you guys, right? So just try doing this. Okay, so you try changing the fixed players and try changing the mutable players. Okay, so this is also pretty straightforward. So fixed player I have from fixed. Okay, so let's say what I fixed one is equal to, so let's say I'll try to set that. So to I'll change Lasset to maybe Malinga. Okay, okay, so let's try and do this, right? Right, so it says that tuple object does not support item assignment, right? So I'm not able to change this element, right? So whatever is in the second element, that is the element at the at index 1, right? So I'm not able to change that. But let's talk about mutable. Okay, so mutable also 1. So let's see who is the second player. So Mandeep. So maybe I can take, let's say, uh, Sandeep. Okay, uh, not that innovative, but anyway, this will do our work. So mutable 1 is equal to Mandeep. Okay, so now we can, so this worked actually, right? So if you have noticed, so let's print mutable, and as you can see that Mandeep has been replaced with Sandeep. Okay, so this is the very important difference between tuples and lists. Okay, so tuple objects are immutable. So whenever you try to uh, run any sort of statement similar to this, right? So it will throw an error that tuple object does not support item assignment. Okay, and but the same thing can be done in list. Okay, so I tried to change the second element, replaced Mandeep with Sandeep, and it worked, right? So that's why it's right. So of course, you'd suggest that we can convert our fixed to list and then make the change. Of course, that is possible, but the very idea of creating this fixed set of players is that these players will be fixed in our team, right? So we need to use that corresponding data structure. Okay, so of course I can convert fixed to list, and then I can do the changes, right? Because I know, yeah, list objects are mutable. Okay, I hope that makes sense, right? So uh, okay, so we have done this. Okay, so now let's, so need to find out the run rate required for team Shivalik to win for 20 overs. So the definition of run rate is runs required per over to win the match. Okay, so can you guys tell me this particular solution? So I'll just clear this, and then you can start posting your answer, right? So this is right. So tell me the run rate required for Team Shivalik to win, right? So this is important to win. Okay, so how do you find the run rate? Right, so you are given total runs. Okay, so does Team Shivalik need to score only total runs or greater than that? Okay, so especially because a lot of people are writing total runs by 20. Okay, so should that be total runs plus one or total? Because some people are also writing total runs plus one. Okay, so I think Puneet may change his. Okay, and then Kirtana is saying, yeah, total runs by Ravli plus one. Okay, so what do we have total runs by Aravali? Uh, yeah, Aravali runs maybe. Yeah, uh, total runs by Aravali. Okay, plus one. So right, so this gives me, right. So what was the total value stored in this? Right, so 195. Right. So as we can also confirm and print that particular variable. Right. So this is that variable. Okay, so so 195, right? So now what Team Shivalik needs to do, it needs to score 196 runs to win, right? So even though it scores 195, it will at max be a tie, or of course we can eliminate, will have a super over and stuff like that. But if they need to win, they need to score one extra run at least. Okay, at least these many runs they need. Okay, so we can now divide by the number of overs. So I can write number of overs. Okay, and you guys please make sure that you're putting comments in your notebook, right? Of course your methods can be correct, but uh, to make it readable for others, you need to make sure yeah, that you're putting comments, right? So let's go ahead and yeah, see, right? So now I can print run rate. So everyone is everyone getting 9.8, right? So this should be easy. So 9.8, right? So that's great. So I'll just yeah, clear this. Okay, so let me know if you are able to follow me up till this point. If you uh, okay, so these are pretty easy questions, right? So nothing much surprising or mystery about them. All right, so okay, so I can move forward, I hope. Okay. So now it's a now an interesting situation comes up, right? So you've just received a secret message from your informant stating that some players of the other team are into match fixing. Okay, so now you need to decode a message and inform authorities about it. So you received a string, which is this weird string, okay, and index of I are going to be no balls, right? So as you can see, I here, right? So I is here, then I is here, right? So then I is here, right? So the index of these I's are going to be no balls, right? So you need to find the first and last no ball from this string, okay? So what do you do? Okay, so can you guys write your approach here first? Okay, so you need to find the first and last no ball from the string, and you know that the index of I are going to be no balls. Okay, so can you guys, yeah, tell me? Okay, okay, so to find I, okay, so if we use so first no ball, right? So first no ball would be what? So so you guys are saying that message dot uh, find, in fact, okay, all right. Need more solutions from you guys. So what should we do here in this case? Uh, so we need to find the first no ball number. Okay. So this is my message, right? This is my message. Uh, so I can use what in can I use the index method? Do you think this so wait a bit. Okay, so do you think I can use the index method? Right? So do you think this will work? So in fact, I'll just change this to first. Okay, so let's see if this works and this is correct. Okay, so here this is the first instance of I which we are getting, right? So sorry. Okay, so how do we do this? So we have a string message, we use the index method, okay, and so we find the index of this element I. So this will return the first occurrence of the index of the first occurrence, and then because indexing starts from 0, we'll add 1, right? So first no ball number should be 30. Okay, so, so yeah, are you guys getting 30 here? Can you, yeah, let me know over the chat if you guys are getting 30 for the first snowball number, right? So I'm expecting answers from most of you, all of you, in fact, right? So this is pretty straightforward. So essentially, string is nothing but a sequence of characters, and using the index method, what we do, we find the first occurrence of that element, and because indexing starts from 0 in Python, we'll add 1 to get the actual ball number, right? Because, right, so yeah, Rishabh, you can do that. Okay. Yeah, so I think, yeah, we need to find the index. So in this case, uh, find element, find method will work. So can you tell me what's the code you're using, Rishabh? So let me see. Okay, so let's so so right, so Shriram is using this code. Let's see if this works, right? So first, and then I can print the first, right? So this is essentially also the same thing. Okay, so we need to we can use the index method or we can use the find method. Okay. All right. So now how we get the last ball number? Okay. So how do we get the last no ball number? Okay. So how do we get this? So somebody has already written the solution, right? So someone said that we'll reverse it and then find the index. Okay. So maybe I can, yeah, take yeah, Smruti's answer. Okay. So Smriti is saying that this is what should we should get. So message. So essentially, we are reversing the list. Okay, and then using the index method. But should we use +1 here or not? Right. So we are getting 3. So can we yeah. Right. So should it be like this? Right. So here, this is what we are getting. Right. So is this the last third ball? Uh, right. So we need to. What do you think we need to do? Do we need to do any changes here? No? Or what else do we need to do? So, last no ball number will be essentially, we need to do some changes here, right? So what do you think? So can you guys please let me know here? So I've got the index. Okay. I've got the index. Okay. From the back. So essentially what has happened here, that we have reversed the string. Okay. So we have reversed the string. Okay. So now the string is reversed. Okay. Now I obtain the index I, right? So this is at third index here, index 3 in fact, right? So now I need to obtain, so once I have done that, now I need to obtain the last no ball number. Okay. So what do I need to do? Right. So this is not the last. So do we need to do some changes here? So uh, subtract from the length of message, right? So Priyanshu is spot on this, right? So subtract from length of message, okay? And do we also need to do anything else, right? So do we need to do +1, etc.? Okay. So so length of message, okay, minus this particular thing. Okay. So let's see what do I get. So I get 105. Okay. So wait a bit. So is this the last ball number you are getting, guys? Here we have the last ball number, right? right? So let's do it one by one, okay, and let's not add confusion. So firstly, what we need to do, we need to write, so let's say what is the reverse message, right? So this is not right. So firstly we'll reverse it, we'll not write it, everything in the single statement as of now, right? And what we need to do, so we need to find the index of this reverse message, all right? And now we can subtract that from the length of the message, okay? So uh, so let's say index of no ball, okay, so we can write as reverse message dot index I, okay. So now what we need to do, so can we, yeah, so let's first run this. So I'll just comment them out and get the index of no ball here, okay. So let's see what I do I get. So I get 3, okay. So now I what I need to do, so length from the length of message, okay. So from the length of message, we need to subtract the index of no ball, right? So index of no ball, and we can, yeah, I'll uncomment this two and I'll comment this one, okay. So let's see. So I am getting 105. So is everyone getting 105, or is there any different, right? So uh, so yeah, so we don't have to subtract from 120, rather we need to subtract from the length of the message, right? So what you are given, that index of I are going to be no balls, right? So only we need to concern ourselves with the length of the message rather than 20 overs or something like that, okay. So it's straightforward, okay. So of course we have yeah, printed them. Now the last question for today is, so is everyone able to follow me till this point? Okay, so I hope, yeah, everyone has been able to follow. That's great to know. Okay, so now the next question is, uh, okay, so you have given the information about fixing to the authorities and they're going to verify it during the match, but you have to work on your strategy, right? So now it is in your hands to automate the decision on who goes on fourth position for batting, depending on following criteria. So if runs made by team Shivalik is less than 50, Smith will play. If runs are between 15 to 100, then Sir Jadeja will go. If runs are above 100, then Hardik will play, right? So you need to, yeah, tell me how, uh, so how can we do this, right? So using a bunch of if else statements. So can you, yeah, let me just clear the slate for you guys, and then you can, yeah, start writing your answers here, right? So how should we do this, right? So your question is if runs made by team Shivalik is less than 50, right? So you can take B runs as the runs made by team Shivalik, okay, as input, okay. Okay, so so this you can take to be runs made by Shivalik. So maybe I can call this Shivalik runs. Okay. So okay, Sri Ram is saying if B runs greater than 100. Okay, okay. Yeah. So so I know, yeah, we'll be using if elif. So can you guys please write your answer? And yeah, so I'm not seeing answers from everyone. Guys, please be participative. Write your answers on the Padlet. Okay. So it's not that difficult. At least try. There's no shame even if you are getting it wrong, right? Because you're still learning. So that's totally fine. So at least you should try, right? So I'll tell you what are the situations. So if runs made by team Shivalik is less than 50, Smith will play. If runs are between 51 to 100, then Sir Jadeja will go. If runs are above 100, then Hardik will play. Okay. Okay, so Sri Ram has already, yeah, given an answer. So if B runs greater than, okay, okay, so maybe I can use Sri Ram's code and see if, okay, so this is, okay, so maybe I'll just paste this in another cell. Uh, okay. So now I need to first take the input. So let's take the input as 40. Okay. So now Shivalik runs has 40. Okay. So I'll need to replace them with, right. So, okay. B runs. All right. Okay. So, okay. So let's try to see this. Okay. So Smith will play. Of course, we have less than 40 runs. Okay. Now, let's say if I want to run this and by mistake I wrote minus 30 here. Okay. Minus 30. So what will happen? Yeah. So it's saying that the Smith will play. Does this make sense? So can we do any improvement? Sriram, can we do any improvement on top of that? What we have suggested? So, right. So if less than 50, so my input was minus 30 and still is saying Smith will play. So should I not be expecting any other output, right? For these situation? Yeah. Okay. So what can we add to, yeah, take care of that? Okay. So, okay. So what we need to do here? So we need to simply add and Shivalik runs greater than equal to 0. Okay. And we also, so now we have two LFs, right? So if the Shivalik runs is greater than 100, Hardik will play. LF Shivalik runs is greater than equal to 51 and less than equal to 100. Okay. So in fact, yeah, this will be greater than 50. Okay. LF Shivalik runs less than 50 and Shivalik runs greater than equal to 0, then Smith will play. And then we'll have our else part, which someone I guess wrote. So please provide the correct input. Okay. So let's see if this works. So I have Shivalik runs as minus 30. So maybe I'll just use minus 20 in this case. And let's see if this gives me, yeah. So it's saying that please provide the correct input. Okay. So I will do that. Okay. So now let's say if I add 120. Okay. Now let's see what it gets executed here. So it's printing Hardik will play, right? So yeah, so this is a straightforward question, and I think yeah. So Sanchita has been writing if B runs less than 50, right? So one thing is that we always need to make sure whenever we're writing if, elif, and else statements, right? So we need to have colon here. You need to make sure you're following the proper indentation, right? And then here, this is the condition, right? So I hope you are able to uh, understand how this works, right? So, right. So this returns essentially a, right? What does it return? So it will return a false, right? So it returns a boolean. So is the case with Shivalik runs because these are comparison operators and we have learned about them in the very first class itself, right? So if you just yeah, run this, so it will be true, right? Because the input currently is 120. Okay. So yeah, so these are nothing but just booleans, whatever that you are getting or you want to write in front of if, elif, right? So those will be booleans only, and you need to make sure that you're writing colon here. And once you have colon, so you press enter, so it will take you to the proper indentation itself, right? So you don't have to worry about it. right? So Python does it for you, which is one of the very good features of Python, right? So it takes you to the proper indentation, right? So you don't have to worry about syntaxes much, or all these sort of basic nuances. Okay. So yeah, so this is the thing which we had. So hooray, yeah, it turns out, yeah, you won the match and the guilty players are punished as well. So yeah, so this was our first project, and based on the topic what we have learned till now, right? So we have learned about integers, floats, and booleans, right? So we learn about various data types, and then we learn about strings. We learned about data structures such as lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. And then in yesterday we talked about statements, indentation, and conditionals, right? So we learned a lot of fundamental concepts this week, and this guided project was was meant to assimilate all those things which had been covered, right? And your self project is even more interesting, and it is a very interesting problem to work, right? So you take your time, and then yeah, work on this, and the deadline for self project submission is Monday 12 p.m., right? So one thing here, guys. So I'll be sharing a proper document with you guys, which will have the proper deadlines for all the activities you are going to do over a week. Okay. So I'll be sharing that doc with you. Self project you need to submit by Monday 12 p.m. Okay. Any late submission, yeah, you'll be getting penalized. And then yeah, you need to submit the guided project notebook which you have done. So submit it after 2 p.m. Okay. So we need to set that in our system in the assignment submission portal. So guided project it is not get available. So hang on for just 2 hours. We'll get that updated in the dashboard, and from the submission portal you can, yeah, just uh, basically uh, submit your assignments. Okay. And so some people had the question regarding the weekly assessment challenge, right? So that is the same as the competency challenge. So I can show you here. So what you need to do, I'm not sure if I'm enrolled, but I'll need to check. So yeah, so you need to go in your course dashboard, right? And what you need to do, so right, what you need to do, go to projects and assessment, and you take the competency challenge. Okay, so you attempt the quiz, click on this, so you'll be taken to the competency challenge certification challenge, right? So you need to yeah, so you'll be enrolled in this, right? So you just have to yeah, right? So you need to do this Python basics one. Okay. So this will link will work. This is not working for me because I have not been added to this course, but this will work for you. Okay. So this is your weekly assessment challenge, right? What we also call is a competency challenge. So I hope this is clear to you. Do you guys have any other question uh, regarding this? And we'll not be having any mentor session this week. Okay. Okay. Seats is too quick. So what's the deadline for this quiz? So Saturday midnight. Okay. So all right. So what's the doubt you have, Himanshu Sharma? Okay. Yeah,
So,
Himanshu.
am I audible?
Yeah, Himanshu. Yeah, please tell me.
In the problem 8, that string we need to find the index I.
Right.
But what we have done is we have calculated the location, position basically.
Right.
In the problem, it is mentioned to find the index.
Uh, so you need to find the first and last no ball from the string.
Yeah, that is clear. But we have finded the position starting from 1, 2, 3, 4. We have not considered the index because in the problem it is mentioned that you need to find the index of I. So
Right. So we need to find the index, but we need to find the corresponding no ball numbers. Right. So let's say if you're not reversing the string, because indexing starts from 0, so we'll need to add 1. But
okay,
when we reverse it, so we won't need that. Okay.
okay, fine. So we need to consider this location, not the index one. We need to add this one to the
Yeah,
index.
so essentially the idea is because when the match starts, right? So
First
the
ball.
bowler will start bowling from ball number 1,
Yeah,
right?
not
But
zero.
here the indexes will be starting from 0. So we'll need to just adjust for that. Okay,
Okay.
that's why we were adding +1.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, Himanshu. Okay, so Rajat has already completed. So all great reasons to
Hello,
boast about yourself. Okay. Uh,
hello, Vikas.
uh, yeah, who is this?
Vikas. Smriti here.
Yeah, hi
So I had
Smriti.
this
Yeah.
question about, yeah, about this problem 9. Um,
Okay.
like Shiva, like a leaf part, we don't have to mention that like Shivalik runs greater than equal to 50. We don't have to mention the other part, right? Like and Shivalik runs less than equal to 100 because it's
Uh,
taken care of the first condition. Like if
you're
Shivalik
talking
runs
about this
greater than
particular thing. You're talking about this
yeah,
particular
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
right? So,
yeah, yeah.
okay. So, what do you think we should have here?
Like we can omit the second part, like and Shivalik runs less than equal to 100.
Okay, this one you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense. So let's say if I skip this, and let's see if this yeah, and I can yeah change my input to something between, let's say, 50 to 100. Okay, so maybe 80, and yeah, so Sir Jadeja will play, right? So yeah, that makes sense. So anyway, so the idea why I wrote that, because we need to be very careful with the approach, right? So at times we might get lost, but of course, yeah, your suggestion is correct. Okay,
So
thank
can we
you.
make that greater than 49? Let it be the same.
Uh,
Hello?
hello, yeah, this one.
Yes.
So greater than equal to 49. So here I have
No,
less than
great.
50.
No, just greater than 49.
Okay, greater than 49.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that can also be done. Okay, so that will also work in this case, right? So Sir Jadeja will play. So even if I write the input as, let's say, 50, okay, so this will of course get executed. So greater than equal to 50 or greater than 49, because we're dealing with integers only. Runs can be integers. So yeah, this makes sense. Okay. So I'll better write greater than equal to 50, because I've written here less than 50. Okay. All right. So any other confusion you guys have? So I think the project questions are clear. Any particular confusion you might have? Uh, okay. So you know that there will be no mentor session this week, because it's your first week and you're just getting acquainted with the processes. And of course, there's no uh, your mentorship session will be on guesstimates next week, and guesstimates will be taught to you today by Shivam. Okay, so he will be taking a class between 3 to 4. Okay, so here's the itinerary for today. So at 2 p.m. you have your AMA session, right? So I hope you are aware of that. So you have your AMA session at 2 p.m. So it will go on for almost, yeah, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And then from 3 to 4, you need to join using this link. So for AMA, you need to join with the with a different link, which should be available in your dashboard as well. Okay. So if you have confusions, I'll ping you the link in the Slack channel, but I think you should be able to get that in the industry talk, right? So industry talk, you go and you will get the link to join the live session at 2 p.m. And then at 3, we'll be having the case study session, which Shivam will be taking you through. Okay, so it will take around 1 or 1.5 hours. And then for 20-30 minutes, we'll have an interaction among ourselves. Okay, so there will be no screen sharing. So we'll be turning on video and interacting with ourselves. So how was the first week? Any feedback, responses, etc. So those things we can do. Okay. So Saeed is saying, when do we need to submit the guided project? Very valid question. So you need to submit the guided project between 2 to 3 p.m. Okay. So we are essentially, yeah, getting the guided project updated in the assignment submission portal. So you'll currently, I think, don't get you will not get a link for guided project, but you will get that in just a while. Okay. So just please wait, and I'll let you know, guys, over the Slack channel. Okay. Any other confusion you have, guys, regarding the activities over the weekend? So yeah, can you please let me know if anyone has any such confusion, so I'll address them. Okay, so great. So yeah, Thanks again, guys, for joining in this session. So I hope you found the project interesting and at least you did some hands-on coding. So this is really required, right? And at earlier stage, so you need to practice a lot of problems as much as you can. Okay. And yeah, that's it. So I'll see you guys in the AMA session then, right? So uh, yeah, everyone should come to the AMA session at 2 because Ankur Pal is coming. He's the VP of Data Science at Neo, and he'll tell you guys what kind of problems they are solving at Neo and how data science is being used in the company, right? So all of the details, and he's a really popular guy. So yeah, please do come for the AMA, and of course you need to come for the case study session. Okay. So okay. Okay, and you need to complete the competency challenge by tonight, right? So by midnight, just complete that, right? So it will take around 20 minutes max, and that's it. Okay. So yeah, thanks again, guys, for joining in this very early morning session, right? So some of you might have been feeling a bit sleepy, right? And so Rishabh is saying, how many attempts do we have for competency quiz? So you have 3 attempts, but the next attempt will be unlocked after a week. Okay. So prepare a bit before you take the quiz. All right. Okay. So, okay. Thanks, guys, for joining in. I'll be closing the session now. And okay. I'll see you then. All right.